So the question, are zeeltronics worth a crap? Well, in my opinion, they're the best ignition systems out there. But I know that a lot of people have problems with them. So I had a customer out in New York send me his zeeltronic because he had bought it used and it's not working for him. So we're going to analyze this thing and I'm going to show you how I do that with some simple tools and see if we can figure it out. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to run a continuity or ohm test on all the leads coming off of the stator, and we're going to see what all those numbers look like. Now, I always have, because we have tons of these here, I always have reference stators that I can get numbers off of. But if you follow along, you can use this video as a reference for testing at home. So we're just going to grab our friendly multimeter and put it on ohmage. And first thing that we're going to check from our reference is we're going to check the green and blue wire and see what we get from that. So the green and blue wire is going to read right around the 220 ohms of resistance. So we're going to take a look at the green and blue wire over here and measure that. And that is 0.473 kiloohms. So that's wrong. Right off the bat, we can tell that that's not right. Now, the second connection that I'm going to check, see the plug orientation here? These next two, so we measured these two first. These next two right here are going to be the charging coil for the ignition. Now, on some of them that have been fully floated, this will be the charging for the lights down here, for the headlights, but this is the charging for the ignition system. So we're going to check that for resistance. And we're going to see that that gives us 185 ohms. Okay, now, if you look at the manual, Honda says from 100 to 200 ohms, and I've actually seen a little bit more, a little bit less than that, and it works just fine. So let's go over here and check this one. And we're going to check it, and this one has been fully floated, so the headlights are above, they're above the ground plane also, but we're checking in the ignition side, and we'll check that and that. And that is completely open, meaning no continuity. So somewhere along the way, there's a break in the charging coil. So let's get this thing tore down and see if we can figure out where the break in the charging coil's at. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my depinning tool. And I'm going to go ahead and release the pins from the plug because we're going to go ahead and take this all the way down. So that basically just slides in up here. And then you can pull out the pins. And just take all the pins out of this thing. Like that. I'm going to go ahead and cut the shrink tubing off of it. Okay, let's cut this off. And then I need to get these out. So we're going to go ahead and put the wires here and here, and then make a measurement on the right up against where the coils are at. Got that one clear, and then I need this one right here. So now what we're going to do is check the resistance at this point, see if anything has changed, and then decide where we're going next. So, and, make sure that the multimeter is working correctly. Yes. And this is the one that goes in there. This is the one that's coming out. And so the charging coil or igniter coil on this one is dead. So now I have to determine, is it cheaper to have me strip this and rewind it, or just to find another one? But what we're going to do next now is we're going to go ahead and take the Zeel and put it onto a known working stator and make sure that it is sparking. So let's move out of here to where my ignition dyno is at, and we'll fire that up. All right, so this is my ignition dyno that I built like 30 years ago. Anybody that's into old like radio electronics will recognize one of these old Variacs. This thing I think is from the 20s or 30s. So anyway, what this does is this controls variable voltage, so I can spin a flywheel, so I spin the flywheel over the stator, pick up the trigger, and I can spin this thing with this load from 0 to about 10,000 RPM. So what we're going to do is we'll take this and we'll attach its grounds. Now, one of the major reasons why zeeltronics burn up is because of poor grounds. And the guy that taught me electronics said that all the world's problems could be solved with better grounds, and the farther I go along, the more I believe that to be 100% true. So thanks, Jerry Croker, if you ever see this. Taught me a ton about this kind of stuff. Anyway, so we hook this up and plug the coil into the output, and we'll fire this girl up and see if it works. So okay, so we can see that the ignition system is working correctly. So now the next step is to contact the customer and see how they want to proceed. If they want a new stator, then this will be the end of the video. If they want it rewound, then I'll go ahead and do a follow-up video on rewinding it. But that's how I'm going to test a stator or an ignition system when it's sent in here. So thanks for watching.